Alright, so focus.
Slate.
The relief I felt upon the completion of The Glassworker was short-lived. Making the movie, which was a gargantuan task to begin with, was not the only thing we had to do. We had to release that movie and do a localization for Pakistan. This meant dubbing the entire film all over again in Urdu. There was no time to recover from the trauma of production. I realized very quickly that the journey is far from over. I planned The Glassworker as an Urdu film, but after all the international talent started coming on board, we decided that we should primarily stick to English. But the plan always was to have an Urdu version of the film. We experimented with a lot of writers who attempted to capture the nuance within the English version of the film, but no one was able to produce something that we were happy with.
Usman, Mariam and I in particular really like the old Urdu dramas of the 1980s and 90s, and so we wanted a very specific style of Urdu spoken, which was a more classical version similar to the film. We didn't want it to be extremely pure that alienated a vast majority of the audiences. We wanted something specific and we weren't getting that. We took the English script and we rewrote it in Urdu, and we used a writer who we really liked called Tanveer Afridi, and he and Usman primarily worked on the localization of it.
For the Urdu version of The Glassworker's casting, I knew exactly which actors I wanted to work with. I had a voice cast in mind even before we began the pilot animation.
Usman had always had a vision of who he wanted for each character. For the role of Elise, it was a no-brainer to go with Mariam. She had voiced the character in our animatic. And then we got some really exciting actors to come in and voice some characters like Muru and Dino, Khalid Anam and Sajir Saab and Faiza Qazi, and many other amazing actors. Getting this sort of new voices with Mariam and Muru and Dino, and then these old grizzled theater actors to voicing it, I think brings a really cool combination to it.
I sat with each actor for each session and we shaped their performance together.
तेज रंगों से अल्फाज को जरा वाज़े करें, इसमें कुछ मिस्ट्री होनी चाहिए.
Vincent Oliver is an artist like myself. I feel similar emotions towards politics here in Pakistan, where I myself am not so very connected to it. And I often find the questions that Vincent Oliver's character arc poses for the audience. What is the role of an artist in a country that's facing war? So I very much identify with the character. I find myself thinking and feeling the same emotions that he feels. A lot of the character arc that Vincent Oliver is going through, something that I personally am going through as I live my life here in Pakistan as well.
उन्होंने मुल्क की हिफाजत के लिए बहुत मेहनत की. मैं उनकी खुशी के लिए कुछ भी कर सकती थी.
Elise has been kind of a character that has been really close to me. Just also in the storytelling in general, it's like I've known her for so long. One, being able to do her in our local language in Urdu was a treat. I was really, really grateful to be able to do it and really excited. It felt almost natural when I was doing it because I knew her and I knew what I wanted out of her. We had done it a couple of times. We had done it through the scratch voice. We had gone through it in English, and each step leading up to the Urdu version kind of brought something new out of her. To me, it felt a bit easy and more natural to reach this point. Being able to localize the context of what she's saying was new and exciting.
Elise, मैं ये सब तुम्हारे लिए कर रहा हूँ. जंग पे जा रहा हूँ.
I think I like Malik's confidence. I think that is one thing that I would relate in terms of confidence. Yeah, I would say that me and Malik have a lot of confidence in us. I don't know how he feels on the inside, but I know that I share that trait with him. And also like the fact that, he has feelings for Elise. I've been there, you always, have that kind of feeling towards someone, but then there's another guy in the picture, which is not easy for Malik. But but I think confidence is the one thing that I probably share with Malik, the character, definitely.
लेकिन मैं ये जरूर जानता हूँ कि विंसेंट जैसा कोई नहीं.
Almost is very close to one's heart because you see, वो जो सोच है वो एक जिम्मेदार, conscientious, एक बहुत सही दिमाग इंसान की सोच है। इस तरीके से उसने लिखा है, उसके जुमले हैं, उसकी फ्रस्ट्रेशंस वो भी हमारी फ्रस्ट्रेशन है, उसकी उम्मीदें जो होप्स हैं वो हमारी उम्मीदें होप्स हैं। तो ये तो बड़ा करंट और बड़ा प्रेजेंट सिनारियो को शो कर रही है फिल्म ये।
जो रेत पका सकते हैं वो कुछ भी पका सकते हैं।
I am admittedly a little intimidated given that I am going to be voicing the main protagonist. So I do feel like there's a bit of pressure, but at the end of the day, it's also very exciting and it's a huge honor to be a part of something like this.
I feel our Urdu cast did an incredible job. They are all very talented.
Usman's work I was familiar with from earlier. We had seen the steps from, him playing the guitar to him directing his short films, that every step was one step above the previous one. There was no stopping of a growth and evolution of the work that he was doing. The Glassworker seemed to be the much bigger jump compared to the other ones that he had taken. But when I saw it in its entirety, I firstly was just emotionally moved. And secondly, there is making a film of such a grand scale that is a difficult task. But then for it to have pathos and for it to move you, those two things kind of came together.
I've known Usman for a long time, so I always knew he was a phenomenal talent, and I always knew that he was, one of those rare talents that come out of Pakistan. And I was looking forward to what he was going to do in the future. And then a couple of years later, he decided to tell me that he's working on this animated movie called The Glassworker. Being a fan of animated movies in general, मुझे बड़ी खुशी हुई कि I was witnessing something that was Pakistani 100%, and something that had our influences, something that had, our voices, something that had work done by our Pakistani brothers and sisters. So I was very emotional to begin with.
उस्मान ने जब पहली दफ़ा ग्लास वर्कर का इनिशियल स्केचेस मैंने देखे तो मेरे दिल में आया कि यार इतना मुश्किल काम, कमाल मुश्किल पसंद इंसान है ये बच्चा। एक नियर इम्पॉसिबल टास्क इसने लिया अपने ज़िम्मे, और जब सिनेमा पे देखा तो सिवाय इसके कि हम कहते कि यार वाओ, सिर्फ यही एक लफ्ज़ निकला हमारे मुंह से कि सुभान अल्लाह और वाओ।
I think Usman Riaz is a visionary, and no doubt this must have taken a lot of time for him to put together cohesively and very unique for something to come out of Pakistan. This is something that can take Pakistan really far.
Usman is a very, very talented boy, but it surpassed all my dreams. I just thought it was the most fantastic film I've seen in a very, very long time. Beautiful pictures, music, the characters, and there was a sense of timelessness, which is what I loved about it.
When he first showed us a few clips of it, even at that time we said, "Beta, this is something which is really, really good." And then to be asked to become a part of it, it gives you a high that you are, actually becoming a part of something which I think is going to go very, very far.
For something like this to be done in Pakistan, जहाँ पे हम सब समझते हैं कि ऐसी चीज़ तो पाकिस्तान में हो ही नहीं सकती, पर क्यों नहीं हो सकती? Usman and his team, Mano Animations, have made us realize that कि हो सकती है, बिल्कुल हो सकती है, बहुत अच्छे तरीके से और अच्छे execution से हो सकती है.
We recorded our cast at EMI Pakistan. It was fun to see the actors' reactions when they would come in and when they saw the music archives. Muru, Dino and Khalid Anam all being remarkable musicians themselves. That was pretty cool to see. The whole process of making this film has been days and nights of never-ending work. Khizr, Mariam and I would work with our Pakistan team during the day, and then at night, because of the time difference, be on calls with Europe and Los Angeles and all of our international team members till the early hours of the morning. It was a crazy routine. I knew this would be a very long journey. That's why I've been documenting everything since the summer of 2014, the day I made my first drawing.
I've been following the project for the past 2 years, and for some time was the editor of The Glassworker. It was my first feature film, and working on it has been my dream too. To watch the film evolve, because the file that I got was some shots were clean up, some shots were rough animation, some shots were composited, And to add every composited shot every day and to kind of see it become more complete was a very fulfilling experience for me. I've seen the film so many times, but I want to watch more.
It's a beautiful story, beautifully animated. It's just mind-blowing, the way they've managed to capture that level of art in their work. Couldn't believe it when I saw, and I've been seeing it from when it was a rough cut till I saw the final cut. It's a beautiful, beautiful story.
Part of the reason why Usman and I are actually fans of film and fans of animation is that we grew up watching them together. We would go to the video store and either rent a DVD or buy DVDs when we could. And we had probably already seen the film that we were going to be watching, so we would jump into the bonus features, the DVD extras, as they say, listening to the commentaries, looking at the deleted scenes, looking at the sort of behind-the-scenes world of making these films, to actually then be working together because we grew up watching those documentaries and making our own film in our own studio, and then making a documentary of that. I think it's poetic. I remember when I was in 8th grade, our school asked for people interested in potentially producing the school play of that year. I remember being in a room of like 20, 30 people, all who were interested in being the producer. And the exercise that they asked us to do was, they said, this is your scope, come up with a budget for it and divide up what you would think the budget should be spent on. And I remember coming up with something on the fly and turning it in. And actually the next day, the teacher coming to me and saying, we've chosen you to be the producer. And you know what my reaction was? I said, no thanks, I don't want to do this, give it to this guy. So that happened with me. I think life was trying to send signals that maybe this is the route you should go down. But I want to acknowledge that Usman and Mariam's belief in me right at the start to be actually able to do this gave me the belief to try this out and allowed me to get through whatever was required to fulfill my role. And I'm proud of the fact that I was able to.
I just am excited for the world to see what we've been working on. And I hope they appreciate it as much as we enjoyed making it. That's really important. And a lot of people have come together and put their heart and soul into it, and you'll be able to see that. And I'm always and forever grateful for everybody who's put their time and effort and beautiful talent into this. So I would say we've all grown, and I'm excited to grow more and see what more the world has to offer for us.
I have been making things my whole life. It is a part of who I am, and everything that I have done has been building on the previous body of work. I hope this documentary has given you some insight into what it takes to pursue a dream. It takes unwavering dedication and a willingness to make sacrifices. It is going to be scary, it is going to be difficult, and there will be days where you want to quit. You're going to make many mistakes. No one is going to come rescue you. You have to have the courage to follow your heart and give it your all, despite all of these setbacks. My family made a lot of sacrifices to support the studio during difficult times. I cannot thank them enough. To all the amazing people who put time and effort into joining me on this journey, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. To my partners at Mano, I could not have done this without you. I hope that one day we can all look back on this documentary and say, wow, we really gave it our best. Will we get the opportunity to go on another journey like this? Time will tell. But for now, we have to go away and dream it all up again.